Hello, this is David with entry number 260 coming at you here in Kunming City on Tuesday evening. It's been a pretty solid day overall, and I thought I'd do a couple things. First, I'll update you with my job status, I suppose. I was offered again. I was given the paperwork for renewal, so this time I know what I'm doing. It is very lucrative, considering you get a bonus and I think a better letter of rec if you stay for a year and a half. You also get to stay in Korea for another half year. So, I have to tell him by tomorrow, and then the paperwork needs to be turned in by Friday. So we got the ball rolling, I suppose. It's looking about because right now I don't really have anything to lose or gain by staying, so it's probably about an 80% chance that I'll stay here. I know I've been flip-flopping a bit, but once I decide, I think it'll feel right. Got about 10 hours to decide. Other than that, I also was told that, we hashed it out and said that if I stay, then I'll do winter camp. If I don't stay, then I can't do it because they won't give me leeway in terms of not working during the school year. So that's it. So if I don't stay, there's no winter camp, and the school is basically up a creek. The other thing I wanted to talk about briefly was, I said yesterday, I've been watching the Anthony Bourdain show, Parts Unknown, on CNN, and we'll talk about very briefly. It's just a travel show where he goes to different countries and kind of looks, gives his perspective on a lot of different cultural things, and usually it centers around food, different cultures' food. And the last two episodes I watched were Lyon, France, which, if you don't know, Lyon is kind of like a midway point between Paris and Italy. So if you think like a diagonal, Paris, Milan, it's like right in the middle. Basically, it was a good episode. I mean, French food in general is kind of, I was talking about it on Facebook a little bit, it's kind of one note, and you don't see a lot of variation. There's a lot of like really good stuff, right? But they have stews and stuff, but a lot of their food, I think, revolves around dairy, and which is fine, but isn't that really, like, to be honest, like pretty easy to just kind of throw a whole bunch of cream and butter and cheese into something and say it's delicious? Because obviously it is. Like, if you ever had like poutine or any kind of like cheesy, like disco fries or something, you've had cheese and cream and butter and all that stuff that goes into it, and of course it's going to be delicious because it's freaking cheese and cream and butter. I was doing some research, and there's like, most people are familiar with umami, which is the Japanese like word for the savory taste or the fifth taste or whatever, and that's kind of like the taste of like charred meat and aged things like aged cheeses, hard cheeses, and salami, and there's also vegetable umami like in like browned bread, and in like tomatoes and a few other things, mushrooms especially, just things that are kind of like very, I don't know how, unctuous. And the Japanese actually have a sixth taste, and I forgot the Japanese word for it. I'll look it up and tell you tomorrow. But it's kind of like the taste for fat, and they use it for like things that are very rich, like it's the rich flavor, and it's a little bit harder to describe, but it's good, it's good, and that's kind of what the French food has in spades, is this kind of rich, unctuous mouthfeel, that kind of velvety creaminess, and so there's a lot of like stuff like that. In the show, he went to visited a dying man, essentially, Paul Bocuse. Paul Bocuse. And he's one of the most famous chefs in the world, even though you may not have heard of his name. He basically started that kind of like really uppity food that people claim to like in the 90s. It's like, you know, very restrictive and technique heavy. Like, he kind of brought back the en croûte thing, which is kind of putting stuff in puff pastry. But, you know, it's fine, you know, I respect the man, but the food looked, you know, pretty good. I mean, it looked delicious, I won't lie, but it doesn't excite me, or I don't think it's excitable as like Southeast Asian food, like Thai food, or Vietnamese, you know, these kind of foods that have like big, bold, zesty flavors. It just doesn't have it. If you want to see good technique, you can go to Japan, you know. Japan does everything pretty well, you know, except for pizza. But, and then the second episode is Mexico City, and I'll be a little more brief with that one. Essentially, he went to Mexico City, Mexico, in, you know, Americans think it's like the worst country, or the worst city in the Americas. It is pretty bad. There's like, I think they said, I don't know, there's been a ridiculous amount of murders there, like in the last 10 years, like enormous, like 80, I want to say like 80,000 or something like that. No, it couldn't be 80 because that's just ridiculous, but it's a lot, like a lot. And they show like a whole bunch of dead bodies, like real dead bodies, and you know, Mexican food is bloody delicious, you know, it's amazing. And when he finally went down south to the central state of Oaxaca, where like mezcal and mole and like that pottery, that black pottery is from, and like the Zapotec nation is from, that was like pretty cool, and the food looked a lot better. But Mexico City, he made it look like a dirty, disgusting, like terror-filled rat hole, when really, you know, I've never been there, but I'm pretty sure like 70% of the time it's really good. And then like at night, you probably don't want to be walking around on the streets, but I'm sure like during the daytime it's pretty safe. Anyway, that's about it. You know, I really like the 2 episodes, although I've been quite critical of them. They're really fun to watch, and it's a really, really like well done show. But that's about it. So I'll talk with you tomorrow. I'll give you a final update on whether or not I'm extending or not, and that's about it. So thanks for watching. This has been entry 260, and I will talk with you tomorrow. Bye.